Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Wind Waker Unflooded, a 3D modeling fan art project where we are bringing to life the world of Hyrule within the world and art style of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, corresponding to the islands of the Great Sea, and realizing, we know that those islands are the mountaintops of Hyrule. And so just realizing, what do those mountains look like? We know the mountaintops. Let's see the mountains. Let's bring the world of Hyrule to life as we've never seen it before. What was under the Great Sea? Let's find out. This is Wind Waker Unflooded. This is my intro. Excuse me. I haven't recorded a voiceover in a while, so I feel like I'm out of practice with my intro. But I'm excited to get back into it. I took things slower during the holidays, of course. And I had a lot of content ready, so that, I wanted to really make sure that the holidays and January had a good start to content. And I'm really excited about a lot of the special guest podcasts that have been coming out. I loved the Christmas podcast and the Yule log. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I've tried to give y'all a little bit of a Christmas present this winter. It's just this is my gift to y'all, is this content. I hope that you enjoy it. But anyway, we're back with a new episode, so let's talk about what we're modeling today. This is in huge thanks to CallumsArmy once again, who really jump-started this video by contributing, at last, a restored version of Greatfish Island. This has been a requested location for forever, since the start of this project. This is one of the things that I've seen people ask about since before people knew about this project, right? I know I've seen, in Zeltic videos, commenters talk about, man, I wish someone would, a 3D modeler would take Greatfish Isle, as we see it in the game. For those that don't remember, Greatfish Isle is the island in Wind Waker that you come upon it and it's wrecked. In the story, we're told that Ganon has just, either summoned a hurricane or monsters to go through and destroy the island. We're not exactly sure how that happened, how the island was destroyed. But we know that it happened recently. So, as a part of this project, just wondering, all right, if this is Hyrule before the events of the Wind Waker, before the flood, then the place where Greatfish Isle was, it wouldn't be destroyed. So what would that look like? And I'm really happy with what Callum created. It definitely started by just kind of in 3D, kind of meshing things back together and figuring out the shape of things. And I really like the kind of shape that he settled on, which elicits the shape of a fish. And we talked a lot, just comparing it to the map by Jacob Zachariah and the placement of things. And so it was kind of important that this location is on kind of the edge of biomes, right? It's this place that is bordering the desert and the grasslands, the main fields, Hyrule Field, if you will, right? The main grasslands of Hyrule. And so Greatfish is this kind of place in between those. So it'll be a little drier, and that impacts the plant life, that impacts the culture, the people that might be living there. I don't know if you get a great look during the time lapse, but at least during the end of the video, I'll make sure to point it out. In the final render of the video, that Callum created these Gerudo huts, so that there would be a little bit of a Gerudo town that would have kind of spread to this mountain. So this is as far as the civilization would go out of the desert. And I think that that's a really cool just idea that just kind of suggests that they're pushing the boundaries, right? The literal borders of the world, that the Gerudo are trying to reestablish Hyrule as a part of their kingdom. They're taking new territory, creating this new little town, and Greatfish is a place where that could happen. And I know Greatfish has a lot of connections, right? There's in Wind Waker, we know that that's where Jaboon was housed. And so it could be also a place where the ancestors of Jaboon, or Jabun, I'm not exactly sure. Comment down below the way that you pronounce Jabun. As a kid, I grew up saying Jabun, but as an adult, I've heard more people say Jaboon. And so I've been kind of putting the emphasis there. I don't know, this is a classic Zelda moment where there's things that I don't know, I remember when Breath of the Wild came out and there were suddenly so many people that were now that there was voice acting, right? Suddenly there was an established way to pronounce certain words that had just never been spoken before in the games. And so who knows, Jaboon is just one of those things that, we just all have to, come to a consensus on, perhaps. I know Gerudo versus Gerudo was a thing, right? I know some people said it like that, for instance. But I mean, there's tons of stuff like that. That's just how it goes in a series that only recently has voice acting, which is great. That really helps to create a consensus for fan discussion. But yeah, I mean, like, that's part of it, the protection of this water spirit. And so for that to also be something that's happening at this island, and is the protection of the ancestors of this water spirit, is that something that's happening as a part of the Gerudo town? Is the water spirit there, unbeknownst to them? It could be an entirely separate, civilization that's keeping watch over it, or used to, and now the fish might be self-sustaining. Who knows? These are all just ideas to think about, and I've loved fleshing out the world and just thinking about the way that it all ties together. But I think for now, it might be time for a short message, so I will talk to all of you again after the break. See you then.
If you want to be able to support me as a creator, there are several ways that you can make possible the creation of everything that I do. Become a Patreon member. I post all kinds of exclusive content that you can only see first on Patreon. Stuff like behind-the-scenes content for my filmmaking projects, whether that's in-progress scripts, storyboards, rough cuts, anything for my newest films that aren't posted anywhere else besides Patreon. So become a member. There's a whole range of prices, and you can support me even in small ways. That's super meaningful. Supporting me on Patreon too gets you in the credits list of any film that I release while you're a member. And like I said, even a little goes a long way. You can also collaborate with me now through Fiverr. I offer a range of services that could help bring your project to life. And if you've heard any music in the background of this video, that was my music. So feel free to look me up on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music. Type in Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify. Supporting me is super meaningful. I don't make any ad revenue on Wind Waker Unflooded. If you see an ad on the videos, it's because YouTube is putting ads on my videos. I'm not making any ad revenue from this project. It's completely not monetized for me. So if you want to be able to support me as a creator, any way that you can do that means a lot, and it goes towards the creation of all that I do. So thank you to everyone who's supported me along the way.
And we're back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's so good to have you. If you haven't heard that today, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And thank you for commenting. Thank you to everyone who's commented. As I always say, let me just go ahead and say that just in case. But I really appreciate y'all's comments whenever y'all have ideas, whether it's ideas that are, whether they're, feedback, like if it's, positive, if it's negative, I want to hear it. I want to hear that. I want to hear your criticism. And I just want to hear, any other ideas about, locations you want to see. Maybe they're locations from other games or locations that you think make sense in the world. Or just little ideas of ways just to make the world more interesting, and just different things that you think would bring life, more life into this world. Because I've said before that this really is a storytelling project, and I want to make sure that in every way that I can, that I'm thinking about the story of this world. I'm thinking about Hyrule right before the Great Flood, and just thinking about what does this world look like. And I'm excited by this video because this area helps tell that story. And I feel that connection to Ganondorf's speech at the end of Wind Waker, and just this idea of the Gerudo, really trying to pursue these green fields of Hyrule. This town, maybe this is a new establishment, or this is a new town established under the returned Ganon's rule, even at this time, or maybe it's an effort that predates his return. I don't know. But it's something that it speaks to the Gerudo really trying to, take back the, the green land of Hyrule. And of course we know how it all turns out. We know that in the end, no one gets the land. But I guess I love what Callum did to just help tell that story, because I think it makes it more immersive for everyone, and maybe compensates for my lack of modeling skill. I'm sorry, I don't know. Not to I don't know. There's no place for that. I don't need to dog myself. But I am humbled by this project, and I do feel like that is something I think about. Is I have so much to learn as a modeler, and I think it's been helpful to root it all in a story, root it all in a world, root it all in an art style I can get to know. And I think that's really helped me learn as a modeler. There is a lot that I have to learn. And so I think it's been helpful to just to have a project to focus all that and say all right, as I learn Blender and become a better 3D modeler, all of these things help focus, help give me tasks to help me learn. And I guess like that's advice to give to anyone else who's a beginner or wants to learn how to 3D model. I think it helps so much just to have a focused task. And I'd recommend a smaller task. Like Wind Waker Unflooded is such a huge project, and my skill level has changed drastically as I've worked on it. And there's locations in the map still that are like, ooh, like I made that like a year ago, and it looks kind of iffy. I need to rework that. And I'll get to it all eventually, but but I guess like I do recommend that, if you're looking for tips, I think just having goals is such a huge help for learning how to create things. Having a focused project, and I think it's easier to make it a small project. For me, like Wind Waker Unflooded, it's like I can tackle this big project because it's something happening in the background. It's not the only project I'm doing. I'm also prioritizing smaller projects. I'm doing short films on my main channel. Subscribe there to see how those turn out. And I'm really passionate about those. And those are projects that get finished. Wind Waker Unflooded, it may take a while before it's even finished. And I'm okay saying that just because it's not the only thing I'm working on. I wouldn't want it to be the only thing I'm working on, just because it is going to be so long before the world is done. But it's nice to see this progress, and I think we get a lot done in this video. Let me talk a little bit more about what I'm adding to it, because I've talked about like Callum and how he reworked Greatfish. But yeah, what I'm adding to it is I'm figuring out this canyon around it, right? And it's connecting to, the main river Hylia, connecting, the Lake Hylia to the lake around Hyrule Castle. And so this is, kind of where Greatfish takes place. And if you've seen Jacob Zechariah's map, then you kind of where this exists on the map. Like I said, in that border of between the desert and the grasslands. I think that it's going to be a really interesting area because it's this kind of, it's going to be set kind of in a canyon. So Greatfish is one side of the canyon. There'll be a mountain on the other side as well. So it's going to be a real dramatic location. You can imagine boats going through. And I have a couple more ideas in mind for the canyon area, but you might just have to wait to see where that goes in a future video. But it's been nice just to just keep working on the landscape and have a new biome to play with. I think that really helps with the diversity of the world. That's something that the world has needed. I think just kind of showing that there's just a little more variety in the ecosystems. So I'm very thankful for Callum for jump-starting that. But without further ado, I think that's basically everything I need to talk about in this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any feedback. Leave a comment down below. It always means a lot. Just to see what y'all have to say. It really encourages me, and it helps determine what I work on next. So without further ado, thank you all so much for watching. I'll let you go.